Welcome to my workshop. You are watching Casual DIY channel. In today's video I'm going to be making a frame for my kids' art. Okay, it's the perfect time to do it right now as it's before the new school year starts, and as always there will be plenty of art being created by my kids, and I'm guessing it will be the same in your case as well. Now the frame itself, it will have a bit of storage as well, so you don't have to look for a specific place for those, so everything will be compacted in a one nice looking frame. We're actually going to be making two frames. One is the back panel where we're going to be storing the art, and the front panel, the front frame, that's where the art will be visible. Now for the back, I'm just going to be using some construction lumber. I've got a bit of pine just over here. However, for the front I wanted something a little bit nicer, so I've got dark ash for that. First of all, I do want to get rid of the rounded edges on my construction lumber, so I'm using my table saw to do just that. And as we are still with the table saw, I'm going to rip down this piece of pine to thinner strips that we require for this project. And the strips I'm going to need for this project, they have to be 2 centimeters by 3 centimeters. Now it's time to sort out the ash board. I'm going to need strips that are 1.3 centimeters thick and 4 centimeters wide. Right then, with the boards ready, now it's time to cut out the pieces for the individual frames. Now I'm actually going to be using my miter saw and a jig that I've made some time ago. If you want to create the same jig that I've got, I'm going to drop a link down below in the description. It just speeds up the whole process of making the parts for the picture frames. The size of the frames need to be able to accommodate a A4 sheet, which is 21 by 29.7 centimeters. However, with the frames I'm going to be making, they're going to be a little bit bigger, just to have that wiggle room if needed. Therefore, the storage part, the back piece of our frame, the inner size will be 23 by 32 centimeters, whereas the top frame, the inner size is 22 by 31 centimeters. And all the pieces that will become the back frame, I'm now going to be cutting out a groove on my table saw with a blade that the curve is 3 millimeters thick, as the back panel I'm going to be using in this frame is 3 millimeter plywood. I've set up the depth of cut for 7 millimeters and about 5 millimeters away from the edge. And at the same time, I'm going to cut that 3 millimeter plywood sheet to the right size as well. And in my case, that's going to be 24 centimeters by 33 centimeters. In the pieces that will become the top frame, I'm going to cut out a rabbit. The rabbit is 8 millimeters by 5 millimeters. Before gluing the frames together, I'm just going to give all the pieces a quick sand. It's just easier to do it at this stage. I'm going to go with grit 80, 120 and 150. No need to go any further than that. And now it's time to glue all the frames together. And I'm going to carry on like this with the remaining frames. Before adding any hardware to our frame, what I want to do now is just to add some sort of a finish to the front and the back frames. And in my case, I'm going with clear varnish in matte. In total, I'm going to go with 2 coats with dinner bin in between coats. In the back piece, the storage piece where we're going to be putting the extra pieces of art from our kids, we need to add some sort of a elastic string, elastic band, so it will be easy to actually add the art or take it out. And as you can see, I'm just pre-drilling some holes for screws that will be holding the elastic band that I've got. And as a backer board for our picture frame, I'm gonna cut a 3mm plywood to fit into the picture frame. I've got these white borders that I want to place just inside of my frame. Now, if you want to, you can actually put plexiglass first and then, for example, this border and a back. However, I'm thinking I don't really need a plexiglass. I think it will be a little bit more natural if the paintings or the drawings of my kids will be straight away visible without the plexiglass in front. So I just want to attach the border itself. And to do that, I'm actually going to use a bit of wood glue on the edges and then place the border on. Make sure it's in the right position and add a backer board that we've cut out from plywood. And let that cure for a few minutes. Okay, now we need to figure out how we're going to be able to actually stop this board from falling out when we're going to add the art from our kids. Okay, so as we put the backer board like so, we need to make sure it stays in place. However, don't make it so permanent, it will be difficult to take out. Now, the fit over here, for me, it's actually quite good. So what I'm thinking, I'm only going to add one single nail just through here, and I'm going to cut off the end. That should stop the board from falling out, and it will allow me to actually take this out quite easily. So I'm just going to pre-drill a small hole so I can drive in the nail a lot easier. And I'm just going to cut it off to the right length. I just need a tiny bit of it. That will do just fine, as this is not going anywhere. Look at that. It looks absolutely awesome. Okay, but it still will be able to remove it quite easily. Okay, it will go below the nail just like so. Nice and simple. It's time to install the hinges. So I'm going to mark the position of them, pre-drill some holes and drive in the screws. And there we go. Now the next thing I want to do is to make sure that this lid, this top frame, doesn't open on itself. And for that I'm actually going to use some magnets. One magnet on both pieces right in the middle. That should be enough to hold the top in place. To make sure, I'm going to pre-drill the holes in the correct positions. I'm just going to be using a bit of painter's tape. A marker pen. And now we can pre-drill the holes. And to attach the magnets, I'm just going to use some CA glue. And finally, the last thing we need to do, we need to make sure we can actually mount this somehow. Now I'm going to use a string and hardware like this, okay? I'm going to put 2 sets of these to allow me to hang this horizontally and vertically, depending on the art created by my kids. and check these out. I think they came out really nice, and there is loads of storage inside as well. And actually they're not that thick, you know, you don't need that much thickness in it to actually be able to store a lot of kids art. Let's have a look how easy it will be to actually take this art out and put a new in. Right, let's hang this up. Just gonna screw just like so. Obviously it would be far better if that was on a wall. Now I can open this up. As you can see, I already got a piece of art in there. I can take that out quite easily, and then I'm gonna pop out the plywood backing. I can now put this one in. Just like so. And now I can put the other art in. Just like that. However, it's now horizontal. Can swap it around. And there you go. Bob's your uncle. And in the same way, I've got the other one. Our lovely picture, which is horizontal. I can open that up and change it for another horizontal picture. For example, this one. Pop the lid back up. Put the art back in. Now goes the piece of art, plywood back, and it's all ready. I think it's a perfect little project if you've got kids, or maybe you're a granddad and want to treat your grandchildren with something really cool. I think this could be it. As we all know, September's approaching, the new school year starts, and there will be plenty of art made by our kids. So hopefully you enjoyed today's little project. If you did, drop me that like button down below. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. However, before you go, I do have some playlists just over here with some really cool projects that you may find useful. So click on those and maybe you'll find your next video to watch. Thank you very much. Take care.